we want to look at how do we generate dummy variables in Stata. But for this, we'll first look at what do we mean by dummy variable. A dummy variable is a categorical variable that takes values 0 and 1. It takes a value of 1 for the category it represents and 0 otherwise. So a dummy variable specifically takes these values 0 and 1. It cannot be something like 1 and 2, for instance. So all dummy variables are categorical variables, but not all categorical variables are dummy variables. Because dummy variables will only be those categorical variables that take values 0 and 1. And a dummy variable can also be called an indicator variable or a binary variable. So now I want to look at two methods that we can use to create a dummy variable for one category of a categorical variable. So categorical variable can have multiple categories, but you want to create a dummy variable for any one category, where that dummy variable is going to take a value 1 for that particular category and 0 for all other categories. So let's do a particular example where we have a categorical variable S1AQ04, which represents the gender of a person. So it has two categories, male and female. For female, it takes a value of 2, and for male, it takes a value 1. We want to create a dummy variable that takes a value of 1 if it's female and 0 otherwise. Now, there are two methods that we can follow for this. The first method is a two-step approach where we're going to use gen and replace. So first, we will generate female is equal to 1 if S1AQ4 is double equal to 2, which means that this is going to create a new variable female that takes a value of 1 whenever S1AQ4 is double equal to 2, which is the condition for. And for values of S1AQ4 other than 2, it's going to generate missing values in our new variable female. So then what we're going to do is in the second approach, we're going to replace female is equal to 0 if S1AQ4 is double equal to 1, which is the condition for a male. So in this way, we've created our required dummy variable. Now there's another way to create this dummy variable, which is using the one-step approach, And that what we do is we can generate female is equal to, and in parentheses, we write the condition. What this is going to do is, so this is going to create a new variable, female 1. We already have female, so we have named it female 1 in this case. So it's going to generate a new variable, female 1, that's going to take a value of 1 if the condition inside the parentheses is true, which means that it will take a value 1 if S1AQ4 is double equal to 2. And for any other values of S1AQ4, it's going to take a value of 0. Now, if we apply this, let's do this. Now, a problem happens over here. Let's look at the problem over here now. S1AQ04 and female 1. Let's browse this. So now the issue happens with the one-step approach is that if the conditioning variable inside the parentheses has missing values, which in this case it does, S1AQ4, we can see the second and third value was missing. So what it does is the one-step approach assigns a value 0 even for the missing values of S1AQ04, because what that one-step approach is essentially doing, it's saying that whenever the condition inside the parentheses is true, assign it a value of 1 and otherwise assign it 0. And even if it's missing, it's going to assign it 0 as it did over here, which is wrong, because here missing does not mean that it's male. We don't know whether it's male or female. So to cater to this, so what we can do is, if the conditioning variable in a parenthesis, in this case S1AQ4, it has missing values, what we can do is to make sure that it keeps missing values as missing and does not assign them a value 0, we can specify an if condition. So we can add the if condition that if S1AQ4 is not equal to missing, because dot represents a missing numeric value. So now I've generated female 2. So browse female 2. So we can see if female 2, when, let's browse both. Wait, browse S1AQ04 and female 2. So we can see over here where S1AQ4 was now missing. Now, when we use the one-step approach, this variable did not assign it a value 0, but rather kept it as missing as it should have. So when you want to create a dummy variable for one category of a categorical variable, so we have two approaches. One is the two-step approach where we can use both gen and replace. The other is a one-step approach. But using the one-step approach, we have to be careful that when the conditioning variable inside the parentheses has missing values, the one-step approach is going to assign a value 0 for those missing values as well. So we need to make sure we put the if condition and specify that we want this variable to be generated. We want this to happen if S1, like if our conditioning variable is not missing.